You don't have to be a star baby. You don't have to be a star baby to be on this show. You don't have to be a star baby, but you better be bold. Yeah! Friday evening is 10 p.m. And I know a lot of you guys got paid, but not Kimberly F. Brown. Brown, that damn Brown on Cleveland. Welcome inside the Little Hut podcast. Yeah. Now, you guys know we got a hot topic tonight. We got part two of the illegal or legal appointment of East Cleveland's interim mayor. Yeah, that's coming up. But before we get started and before I introduce my special guest tonight, I got to say hello to my girls. The first one, Aletha Johnson of Dream Team Realty. If you're looking for single home or commercial property, be sure to give her a call at 216-375-3681. And if you're looking for t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, tumblers, cups, mugs, team uniforms, whatever the case may be, call Angie Marie from Maple Heights, New Beginnings, 1111 Creations at 216-395-7335. Yeah, call Angie now. So again, you're connected to the Little Hut podcast. So just in case you didn't catch the show on Wednesday, remember Wednesday I had activist and CEO of Chasing Justice, Mariah Crenshaw. Well, today I have a policy analyst and a legal law analyst that's going to break this thing down for us. So today, we're diving into a controversial chapter in East Cleveland's history, the fallout from the rise and fall of an illegal interim mayor. Imagine a small city grappling with challenges and then being rocked by a scandal that shakes the very foundation of its governance. It all began when probate judge Anthony Russo appointed an interim mayor under questionable legal circumstances. Rather than uniting the community, this decision sparked outrage and division. Residents are left wondering who truly holds the power in their city. With trust and leadership dwindling, the community stood and they're standing at a crossroads, anxiously awaiting the fallout. Well, today I have Miss Cassandra McDonald hanging out with me. And how you doing, Cassandra? How are you today?
I am doing great, and I cannot wait to get into, the nooks and crannies of what's going on because it's very important, and I'm glad you're highlighting this information for the residents of East Cleveland.
Very good. I want you to know that, the Little Hut podcast, Brown on Cleveland, the Brown Report newspaper, Brown on Cleveland News Break, we don't run from difficult situations or difficult stories. We believe that you're always supposed to turn a wrong into a right. And it's really mind boggling to me that mainstream media here in Cuyahoga County appear to have turned an ugly eye on this situation. They elevated someone, but now they know there's some turmoil going on and nobody wants to address it. So let me ask you this. First, I want you to give your opinion on the appointment of Sandra Morgan, Brown on Cleveland, inside the Little Hut podcast.
Well, basically, the appointment was illegal. From all measures that I can see, the
Mhm.
appointment was illegal. There is nothing that I could find that authorizes a probate court judge to not only appoint in the vacancy, but do
Mhm.
so by a procedural of doing applications. I don't find that anywhere.
Hmm. Interesting. When I spoke with Mariah and she had brought this to my attention, she listed the Ohio Revised Code. And because the journalist that I am, I did a cross reference to the East City Charter that clearly stated that because of secession, the next person in line would be the council president. Am I correct?
You are correct. And I want to say something about the Ohio Revised Code when it comes to that.
Hmm.
The only way that that is referenced is if the municipality was a statutory municipality, meaning if it was not a chartered city. That is a chartered city. So it's
Hmm.
not governed under state law. It diverts back to the municipal charter. So that is where the how it goes as far as your mayor is supposed to be selected. No other way.
So, in other words, home rule would trump what Judge Anthony Russo did.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you,
Mhm.
um, Sandra Morgan, I don't know her. I don't know
Mhm.
anything really about this woman. I was just happy, and it was my ignorance. I was just happy that they had someone go into the seat until all this stuff was coming to my attention, and I began to do the proper research under my own proper due diligence. But from my understanding, Sandra Morgan served on the fiscal commission or fiscal committee that was part of overseeing the finances in East Cleveland. Am I correct?
You are correct. It's the fiscal commission. Yes,
Okay. So that's under the state auditor of the state,
correct.
David Yost.
Well, it's favored now, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken, but it was under Auditor Yost, and I believe he served until 2019.
Okay.
However, there is no new legislation that I can think of that has changed the direction of how the fiscal committee goes. So whether it was Yost or favor, it still follows the same order.
So she served under both Yost and Favor.
I believe she came in right after Yost's last term.
Okay, I see. So
Mhm,
forget about that for a second. Are
mhm.
there any particular rules under the fiscal commission that states any event that the mayor is removed, he passes or she passes, whatever the case may be, who is to now take the seat? Any rules?
Absolutely. It is outlined in the fiscal report of the
Hmm.
city of East Cleveland. It is a signed document, which is a living document, a certified document that was signed
Okay.
and dated by Auditor Yost. And within that fiscal report, it also says that in case of a mayoral vacancy, that the
Hmm.
council president is supposed to become the mayor. So now you have not only a municipal charter, but you have a state entity, someone in a state entity, such as the auditor of state, that says the same thing that the municipal charter states.
So this is insane. So let's go back. So we got the East Cleveland City Charter that says the next person in line should be the council president. We have the Ohio Revised Code that clearly states that the next person in line under home rule governance should be, not should be, shall be the council president. Then we got the state auditor's report under Keith Faber that says the same thing. So if these three entities are saying the same thing, how is it that Judge Anthony Russo, a probate, how is it that he can actually accept applications and appoint someone like Sandra Morgan? Brown on Cleveland, the Little Hut podcast, talking to policy analyst Cassandra McDonald.
So there's really no authority that speaks to the fact that a probate judge is able to appoint someone in a municipal seat. The only authority that a probate court judge would have, which would include a common pleas judge or the municipal court judge, is that they can appoint a receiver, but they can't, put a
Wait,
mayor in the vacancy.
wait. Okay, now you're using a term that I don't too much like. Receiver. Are we talking about receivership?
Yes, we are.
Would you explain that to the audience so I don't have to? Brown on Cleveland.
Absolutely. So a receiver is someone who, again, like I said, the court of common pleas judge, a probate court judge, or a municipal judge can appoint someone of
Hmm.
their choice to manage a city, which means their finances, bonds, the way the cities are ran, and so forth. So it's almost like a fiscal person coming in on an emergency
Hmm.
and saying, let me receive the city so that I can put the city back on its feet. The only thing is, at the end of that, will the city be released back into being its own municipality, or will it go under state control? So those are the things that we have to really consider. And when you look at the process that the probate court judge took, it looks like a receivership because there's nothing to say that he's supposed to appoint a vacancy as a mayor.
Here's the issue for me. Here you have a woman who served on this committee to help, to oversee, to lend a helping hand, not to take, not to receive, but to help. So technically, really, she's supposed to be East Cleveland helpmate, not East Cleveland help take. Makes sense? Makes sense to me. So you have a person who have sat on this committee who should have known the rules. And one rule is that if the mayor is discharged, removed, passes, whatever the case may be, the next person in line, the only person who should have been appointed, should have been the council president. How can a person sit on a commission or a committee and they don't know the rules or the policies? Brown on Cleveland, I'm just asking. And you know what? I'm bold enough to ask Sandra Morgan to come inside the Little Hut podcast. I wonder if she would come, or I wonder if she would simply run Brown on Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wanted to go back to the statutory law, which is the ORC, just to be very clear about this. So again, the state law does not govern or speak to who should be appointed, right? When the ORC speaks of a mayoral appointment, it is for statutory cities, which again, the city of East Cleveland is not because it is home ruled. And there's a section in there that says if it was, then it would be a central committee that would make the appointment or a Cuyahoga County committee that would make the appointment. But again, since it is not a statutory city, nothing about the ORC is applicable to what's happening in East Cleveland.
I don't get this. It seems to me like, someone is stealing somebody's bicycle. It seems to me like there was a bicycle in front of someone's home and a judge came by and just took it and gave it to the kid across the street because he didn't like the homeowner who was across the street. So you just pick up something and you give it away, because I still don't understand, and nobody can explain to me how he had the legal authority to do so. But let me tell you something that's also bothering me. Let me back up. Cuyahoga County is a Democrat county. Would you agree?
I agree.
The Democrats have a stronghold on Cuyahoga County. Would you agree? My assessment. I was recently told by Mariah, because I didn't know that. First of all, I don't even get into political parties, but this is funny to me, so I got to say this. That Sandra Morgan is a Republican. East Cleveland is a Democrat city. East Cleveland council members are avid Democrats. I have never in my life, being as old as I am, almost 100 years old, I have never seen so many Democrats fall over a Republican who's in office. I have never seen so many Democrats embrace a Republican office holder. Most times, if you talk to Democrats, they have a lot of nasty things to say about Republicans. Be it that the Republican is a good person, bad person, or an indifferent person, they see them as the enemy. This is the first time in my entire life I've seen people from the Democrat Party run over and embrace a Republican interim illegally appointed mayor who's now over a Democrat city and Democrat office holders. Make it make sense to me. I've never in my life seen that. It's kind of funny. I gotta say this. It's kind of funny. We got a new president. I don't care if you like him or not. I don't care one way or the other. But people talk about, Mr. Trump. A lot of people hate him because he's a Republican, and some people say all these other things about him. I'm not gonna get into that, right? Because I'm an independent. Come see, come saw, damn if I do, damn if I don't. That's just what it is. And a lot of these same people will say, I would never, ever, ever vote for an R. But the same people, they are literally slobbing over this woman, Brown on Cleveland. I just don't get it. Your take.
You know, what you said couldn't have been more true. And you know what? And I'm just going to say it. The Calling Post newspaper, right?
Yes.
Who does the owner support?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. But
Yes.
we rush to put articles in there and spend our money and say things like that because we want to be in the Calling Post. But that's ran by Trump. Okay.
Right.
So
we want our picture seen. See, we like
right.
photos.
Exactly. So at some point, we're either going to get serious about who we're going to support and who we're not supporting, and not make it just a convenient thing or a thing that is personalized for me to look better. Are we going to not support because it's the right thing to do, or are we going to support because it's the right thing to do? And in this case, with Mayor Morgan, there should be an outcry of the Democratic Party to come out against this and say, show me where the authority lies in this probate judge to do so. Because even when it comes down to the language in there, it says legislative authority. We have three branches: executive, judicial, legislative. Judges are not generally legislative authorities because they don't make laws. So it says legislative authority. Where is the authority? I took it a step further. I actually reached out to the the Legislative Service Commission, who drafts the laws, because I want to see, can they find it? I reached out to the Ohio Municipal League, that is responsible for all the municipalities and their laws, because I want them to point me to what it's supposed to be.
Brown on Cleveland. This is so interesting. I know that there is a lawsuit that has been filed with the Ohio Supreme Court. Also know that there are appeals that have been filed. I'm very eager to see how this Republican body is going to interpret the law. Because like you, being 100% serious, she could be the sweetest woman on earth. She could be very nice. She could be lovely. She could be knowledgeable. But this has nothing to do with that. Okay? We're talking about apples and oranges. We're talking about the law. What does the law says? And the reality is this. People often wonder why the numbers for voting dwindle every single election. It is because, in my opinion, because of situations like this. So when people say, I don't want to vote because they're going to do what the crap they want to do anyway, this is the prime example. Brown on Cleveland. Prime example. See, you can't have it two ways. You can't tell lay people to abide by the law when elected officials, public officials are always against the law. And I would love to have somebody who's part of the executive committee of the Democratic Party who has been worshiping this lady to come and sit down with the Brown on Cleveland, because I just need to ask one question, and that's why.
Right. And here's the thing. Their argument cannot be that she was the most qualified. Out of the 34 candidates, there were at least 2 or 3 other that were very strong.
Chantel Lewis.
Chantel Lewis.
Chantel Lewis.
Let me tell you, she was the best one. The best one. She earned her doctorate. She is a principal. She has legislative experience, and I personally saw her fight a case that referenced Ohio Revised Code. So she has the knowledge, and she has the stability, and her foot is in the community. Her family is in the community. How they overlooked this Democratic, strong Black woman with the knowledge, who didn't she run for lieutenant governor or something like that?
She did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
How?
But the other thing too, somebody brought it to my attention. I can't remember, and they said, "Well, Kimberly, the reason why Sandra Morgan was appointed is because of her namesake."
A namesake is not going to save the ship from sinking.
I agree.
I'm sorry, we have to get past the namesake. Namesake does not do it. It is your acumen, your ability to understand legislation. Because she served on the fiscal commission, she may be good with numbers. I'm not going to take that from her. I don't do that job. What I can say is it takes a lot more than that to run this municipality. And first and foremost, if you're going to come in the door incorrectly, we don't need that anymore in East Cleveland. It has to be
Mhm.
right.
No, East Cleveland deserves a chance. And every day when I go to work, I work from home, but I have to travel through East Cleveland. East
Mhm.
Cleveland is just a unkept city. So it's a lot more to it, as you said, just like county numbers. People don't get along over there. How are you going to bridge the gap? What is going to be the common interest? Do you know how the departments run? Because the building really should be condemned. So
Yes, sir.
there are a multitude of issues that are going on, a multitude. But in lieu of all that, I want to get back to the law because this is why we are here tonight. I want to be very clear that as far as your concern, your research, your professionalism, there's absolutely nothing that says that this woman, Sandra Morgan, has a legal appointment and she deserves to be in that seat as mayor. Am I correct? Brown or Cleveland?
You are correct. And like I said, I crossed my T's and dot my I's, and I reached out to the other governing bodies. I reached out to the state of Ohio Legislative Service Commission. And because they said, oh, we don't know that let me know right there. It's municipality based because that's where they sent
Mhm.
me to, but I just wanted to check. So people can look it up and see what they do. Every last city is it. It even shows you that East Cleveland is a statutory city. It's not a statutory city, and it lists all the cities that what they are, and it's clearly outlined. So I sent an email to the legislative people there. Can you guys point me to any laws? And I was very direct about the time the law went into place from 2004 to 2005, the application process, who can do this, and I'm waiting on a response. And I'm almost 99.99% that you're not going to find it because he is a probate judge. And I have
It-
never seen it, and I don't see where, especially application, that application, where is that? I'm going to take your
mhm.
application and make it mayor.
I would be curious to um, get a copy of that dummy application. Not dummy in the sense of being disrespectful, but just seeing
Mhm.
what the questions on this application entail, because I think a lot of people have a right to know that. And I know somebody who applied. I'm going to see if I can get a copy of it because I would like to share. But at any rate, it's 23 after. We only have 25 minutes, no more than 30 minutes. Is there anything else, Cassandra, that you would like to share? First of all, I appreciate you coming on today because I wanted to get different opinions about this particular situation. A lawsuit has been filed. What do you think will happen? How should the Ohio Supreme Court rule on this? Brown on Cleveland, we're going to wrap this thing up.
This is a great question. I
Mhm.
really think the decision should be overturned unless we can
Okay.
point to specifics in the law. The problem is if the decision is overturned, now we're looking at another issue is what is the qualifications of the president of the council that will assume the seat? Can they handle the situation? So now we're faced with another problem if they are not, he or she is not capable of running the municipality as well. So this has nothing to do when I'm on here about Mrs. Morgan
Mm-mm.
or the president council. This is about the law and how it's supposed to go. And what they need to do is start some contingency planning. So when it is overturned, because I believe that's what's going to happen,
Mhm.
prepare your council president to be ready to assume or put something in order, because the city needs someone who's qualified but right.
But here's the thing, real quick. If Sandra Morgan, she stated that she was really concerned about her city. If this ruling is overturned and she gets removed, I would expect for her to take the council president, who will now be mayor, by the hand to help him move the city forward as a consultant. And when she does not do it, or she decides that it's beneath her to do it, then we know the truth about her character and her spirit. And that is my challenge to her. Brown, 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 that damn brown on Cleveland. Wrap it up, because we got to go. Last words.
My last words is this show was needed. I encourage people to look at the Ohio Municipal League website. These are not my words. These are the words that the law lays out. Look at your state legislature website, but keep an eye on this story, because this is going to be a precedent legal opinion here. Mm-hmm.
Very good. Well, I want to thank Cassandra McDonald for coming on the show tonight. It's certainly appreciated. Illegal or legal appointment, we're going to find out. We're going to cover this story because everybody else appeared to be a little scared, and I don't understand why. But like I say, every podcast, I know y'all don't like me, and I'm okay with that, because 10 times out of 10, I don't like you either. But if you need me, call me. Don't talk about me, because I'll talk about you back, and that is a fact. You have just been inside the Little Hut podcast with Brown, 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 that damn. Yeah, I tell you, people were like, damn brown on Cleveland. Say goodbye, Cassandra.
Bye.
See you guys later. We'll talk to you real soon.